Why is everyone cooking cryo characters today? We can look at both of their opinions on each character and then say, do I think they're underrating or overrating the cryo characters? So yeah, again, I don't really care about the actual like tier list. I'm not making a tier list. I'm just like listening to their opinions overall. Okay, so we'll watch the Zajef one first and then we'll watch this one after. And then we'll try and balance it.
Chongyun is between Kaeya and Aloy. And what's good about Chongyun? Cooldown reduction. His C2 is really, really good, but it's on a character that's completely worthless outside of that. Chongyun's not a good carry, and Chi-Chi's far from the best healer anymore. Like, the best at healing.
I think he underrates Chongyun.
Chi-Chi slightly above. Just because if two characters are ass, like, I'd lean towards the support more than the...
Okay, so let's check our Chongyun one. Okay, so now what we do is we watch this one and then we see overall are they underrated or overrated for my opinion. So again, like you might say I'm underrating or overrating someone.
For starters, Chongyun. The thing with Chongyun is that in my opinion, he only really has his reverse melt team. I don't think he really has anything else going for him. B or C, he's not really anything special. His damage isn't bad. It's just, why would you use him really?
Oh, he's not better than Chongyun. People need to put respect on Chongyun's name. The only Chongyun mains there are, unfortunately, there's none on YouTube, I don't think. You have to go on Bilibili to find the Chongyun mains. Chongyun is like a a more bursty version of wriothesley, but with less overall DPS. But he's still good. Yeah, look at that. Whoa! See, if you just look at the burst damage, it cooks. It cooks wriothesley completely, but he just doesn't really have any sustain. You have his his skill and his burst, that's it. So the damage dies off quite quickly. People need to put respect on his name. If they released a good Claymore and work with Chongyun. Oh my god. Look, freminet cannot do this. Here we go. You guys want to see the craziest cook? This is actually Ayaka's like best performing team in that abyss. Whenever, I don't know what this was. It was like 1.5 years ago. It was like 3 point something. I don't know. This was the optimal Ayaka team back then. Look at that. Look at Chongyun. Wait for it. Oh, look at Chongyun. He cooks. What is that? 80k times like 5 or something. And then the Ayaka burst. This was crazy. Combo Ayaka. See, Ayaka burst into Chongyun burst. That's like some insane burst damage there. So Ayaka's doing like 44k. Chongyun's doing, I don't know what that was. Whatever. Oh, so this is without Ayaka. So full, that was the same abyss, but like just the full Chongyun then. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like freminet, no one's ever played freminet, so you can't compare them. Chongyun's not amazing, but he's quite clearly, if you know what you're doing, he is pretty solid. Whoa! What is that? 140k's. See, everyone, you're forced to use Serpent Spine. That's the only issue. Okay, but I don't think Juice underrated Chongyun. I think Zajef did. So does he go here? He probably goes here, just because of how hard. I mean, Zajef put him as the second worst character. He put next to Aloy, and Aloy is probably like the worst character in the game, which means between Chi-Chi and Aloy, which probably means he considers Chongyun within like the top 5 worst characters in the game, which means he has to be underrated. He's not bad, but it requires investment. Okay, we need to go to Ayaka. Ayaka is the second best cryo.
Ayaka is definitely in between these two.
Yeah, no, she goes into A. It's just because she's better than this lot. It really is just a case of she is one of the least bad ones. Ayaka is a
least bad?
Well, I wouldn't really say she's S, because the thing is, wriothesley's a lot better in my opinion. That's my opinion though. Either way.
Yeah, it's just our opinion, that's fine.
Yeah, first of all, freeze just doesn't really work anymore. And then second of all, her damage is not that impressive.
There was a cup recently. There's the outdated cup, or like the old meta cup in CN, and Ayaka basically dumpstered everyone from the old meta. This cup, you could only play characters from 1.0 to 2.8, so it was pre-Sumeru stuff. It's still going on now, but no one's gonna beat the Ayaka and Raiden runs with this team here. You can't do this with you won't be able to do this with wriothesley, would you? But wriothesley is easier to play, I guess. But then again, like if you're playing freeze Ayaka is also easy. Yeah, this is C0. This is a 4-cost team. Ayaka, she requires more skill. Ayaka and Ganyu probably require like more skill than Wriothesley, but without constellations, Wriothesley can't really you can't really speedrun without constellations on Wriothesley. Yeah, the only character that could beat Ayaka was a C3 Raiden, but that's a different sort of thing. But it makes sense. The old meta, Ayaka and Raiden, that's kind of how it was. So this was quite a cool cup, really. The builds weren't even that crazy. It's the C. You can't even try this if you don't have C5 Bennett. That's the only thing. That's the issue. The only one that was close to Ayaka was there was a 4-cost Raiden beat Ayaka by 2 seconds, but this is a C3 Raiden. Okay, I mean they are both saying that Ayaka is like noticeably worse than Wriothesley, which I would not agree with at all. So I'd have to say she's underrated. Or is it that Wriothesley is overrated? But I think they are underrating Ayaka though. Or is it that Wriothesley's just overrated and Ayaka's okay? I don't know. Because okay means that the opinion on Ayaka is I would agree with, but I mean they're both saying that Ayaka sucks. It's just that she sucks. She's still pretty good comparison to other cryos. I wouldn't say she sucks. Yeah, Wriothesley is more versatile in teams, but that doesn't necessarily make you better. I guess if you're focusing on like flexibility rather than like the optimal. Nah, not really. We've done more view abysses with Ayaka than with Wriothesley. I think like last week we did like three Ayaka freezes in a row. We got people 36 star with Ayaka freeze. Ayaka freeze actually is quite good. This abyss. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm overrating Ayaka? I'm not saying she's insane outside of speedruns, but I think she's even outside of speedruns, she's still underrated. I'm not saying she's like underrated and she's insane, but I think it's fair to say she's not like noticeably worse than Wriothesley for me personally.
This one's difficult because she is a pretty bad carry, but how bad? She's worse than Ganyu, worse than Chongyun. So here's the thing, right? I think that the fastest non-whale, like non-hyper invested Chongyun runs will generally be faster than the fastest eula runs. It's not because Chongyun is...
In the outdated cup, eula runs were like way better than the Hu Tao runs, and the Yoimiya runs, and Ito runs. Eula is not bad, and that's with the teammates. But then again, like the outdated cup there's a lot of teams with shitty teammates. That's kind of the point of the outdated cup. Like, to be fair, it is like a eula favored abyss, whereas there was a pyro resistant enemy. But I mean, the eula one's cooked. Yeah, I play eula every abyss. We always do view abysses that have eula, and we always manage to do pretty well with them. Yeah, this one, like I had like my 7-cost Hu Tao team. I got like 77 seconds or something. There's like a 8-cost like a team is Hu Tao team with like C2 Yela, and that was better than this. But this is a 4-cost. Yeah, 77, because I don't have constellations with Hu Tao. If you want to get a good run this abyss, you need either freminet constellations or Yelan constellations, or ideally both. Like with me, because you have to take 2 rotations basically for every chamber apart from 3rd one, so that slows down the Hu Tao's time. This guy is the ultimate eula main. 42 seconds with 2 costs. How does the Waynu have a lowered physical resistance? How is it getting destroyed? This is a serious time. I didn't realize it. 42 seconds Waynu is insane. And this is like, I don't even think they're using a 5-star weapon. Yeah, these are Serpent Spine. That's crazy. Not even the physical set as well. It's easier. This content creator is a serious guy. I don't know why he's got clears. He's very clearly a eula main. This guy is the ultimate eula main. If you want to know the eula meta, what was he playing last year? Yeah, same one team. That's the thing with eula. It's same one team, same one strat. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't. It's understandable. I wouldn't expect people to know that Mika sucks with eula. Even other content creators, I wouldn't expect them to know that, because eula is not a very popular character. So people won't have done that much testing with her, or keep up with that much testing to know that Bennett is still better. Just this old team is still better than the new team. Yeah, I wouldn't blame Zajef for not knowing that, because most people won't know that. I probably wouldn't have believed it. No one would have believed that until you actually show them gameplay of how trash the Mika team is. No one would believe if you looked at Mika's kit and you looked at the calcs. No one would believe you if you said that Mika was trash. See, I have C6. I played him. A lot of people play him. His kit looks like it's good. Mika's like a catfish. This kit looks like it's good, but it's actually trash. it looks like an upgrade on paper. This is the team that people say is their best team. So there's 52,000. If you look at, here we go, 43,000. It's like 23%. But like, if you're speedrunning this team here, we're clear faster than all those other teams. Every freminet team is higher DPS than that original team. So it's a combination of both of them. They're both frauding. Eula has 2 frauds. Eula has 2 frauds, and then she has like Fav Raiden. Eula has no teammates, and she's still pretty good, which means she's not bad. Everyone is waiting for the physical Natlan character who will change everything. I think it'll be Seat Lali. Yeah, Ian-san as well. Ian-san could be the physical, could be visual, but physical, something like that. I don't know. That would cook. If you want to buff Ayaka and Eula, what you do is you'd enable constellation toggle. That would unironically be a big buff without actually doing anything. Because then everyone can play Eula or Ayaka without C6 Bennett scuffing up the strats. Here's why I don't think there'll be a physical DPS. Is because if you put a physical DPS, they'll still have no team. They'll still have no new team. They'll have none of the new artifact sets. So there'll be no integration. So either they release a physical DPS and a physical off-fielder, or they only release the off-fielder. Or maybe we get like 3 physical characters. I don't know. But that's setting our expectations too high. I'll take one. But if they want to do like a full hype train thing, they have to like release the supports and the DPSs.
Could you even call Eula a cryo unit? She's more like a physical unit. The thing is, she don't need it for any of the teams she fits in. That's another thing. Yeah, she's so unnecessary. See, I'm inclined to put her in. It might seem insane to put her below Chongyun, but my justification for that is at least Chongyun's melt teams are pretty decent, whereas I feel like Eula's physical teams are just all round not worth using. There's nothing really overly valuable about her in my opinion. Like, she's expensive to build for starters because she's a hyper carrier. You want to put a lot into her. Her teams are expensive. All of her supports are better used literally anywhere else. You would rather put Freminet and Raiden somewhere else in their own like double hydro driver team. Why would you waste those supports on Eula? Just because her damage is so bad, who cares? Eula, the DPS loss, factual. Yeah, it is factual. It's genuinely just a DPS loss in any team.
Okay, Eula has to get underrated as well, because Zajef said she was like the worst DPS and Juice was just cooking Eula. But like I said, I think you have to be in the trenches to know the Eula teams do that, because she's not popular. Eula's not popular, and she's not amazing. No one's saying she's amazing, but yeah. And also like the sheets and all the calculations, they would tell you differently. So with that being said, it's like I don't expect people to know that much about Eula. That's just how it is. That's how it is with any unpopular character. So I wouldn't blame anyone.
Layla is a reasonable option for Nevilette teams, but she is noticeably worse than the alternatives. I don't think there's any team where she's like that high in your team option. So I think I'd put her here.
If they were to release a physical DPS, they would also either before or the same time or after, but ideally probably either before or the same time, they would also have to release a physical support as well. So they either only release supports, which again, I see your point, it doesn't really make sense because they want to sell a DPS at some point. So they have to do both, really. But they've got 3 chances. There's 3 cryo and electro characters in the schedule. It has to happen, I believe.
Her shield uptime just feels really low. With a lot of carries, if you don't swap directly from her to your carry, your shield uptime runs out before your carry uptime is over.
Like, oh wow, she works a wonder. That's great, isn't it? Like, I don't really think there's anything anywhere else you're gonna put her. Okay, I get that if you need a shielder, she's a really good shielder, but the problem is that healers are just a lot better. Am I underrating her? Shielder is a waste of space. See, that's my thoughts. I don't really think she's that useful.
I think they are overrating the Farina factor though. They are overrating the Farina factor, but I don't think they're overrating like the fact that Layla is just a shielder of all time. So I think overall, roughly agreeable.
Mika. Okay, 22% attack speed, up to 50% damage percent, and 60% crit damage is actually really good.
Yeah, this is what I was saying.
However,
it looks like he's good, but he's actually trash. He's a catfish.
No one gives it. Ella doesn't really benefit much from the attack speed or that much from the damage percent. And then the damage percent is reliant on you being in AoE situations. It's a lot less than single target. It only applies to active character, which means if you have to swap, you lose it. But unironically, Like if you had an equivalent to Yuumi as a physical unit, Mika would make her
play
insane.
official.
And so Mika has room to grow in the future. Physical official? No, it has to be a unit that actually does damage.
But you could say the same thing with Eula though. That's what I think. That's my opinion. So if you're saying that Mika doesn't have any DPSs, then Eula doesn't have any supports. It kind of works the same.
I think that we're gonna see a physical carry that makes Mika better long before we're gonna see a physical support that makes the physical carries we currently have better.
I think it's the other way around.
I actually think that Mika is a relatively underrated unit, at least when it comes to his future potential. I will put Mika above Charlotte, below Ganyu, but I think he has the potential of going up to maybe even here in the future.
So what do I think of Mika? Because he can heal, right? Because of Farina. So I'm inclined to put him in B because of Farina healing, but it could also just be C because, okay, he Farina heals, but that's kind of all he does. Okay, he does attack speed. Wow. Mika has more use cases than Eula. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
How did they look at Xiao and then made a character that does everything that Xiao wants? They made it like an entire team in one character for Xiao, and then they looked at Eula and then they made Mika.
All right, next up, Diona. Diona's definitely better than Chi-Chi. So the question is Diona better or worse than Kaeya? And this is an interesting question as well. Diona is a character that doesn't really have a team where she's great, other than Gaming Melt. Kaeya, on the other hand, is actually pretty damn good in Arlecchino Melt. When you look at suboptimal teams, however, Diona has a lot more options where she's a reasonable character to use than Kaeya. That's
an interesting way of looking at it, because I would say the exact opposite, I think. Like Diona, from my perspective, I would say that Diona has actual teams where she pops off, whereas Kaeya is more of the character where he has a lot of filler roles that you can just like plug him into. You can plug him into like a Ayaka team or like some reverse melt team, or I don't know, freeze team or something. Whereas Diona, like if you're not playing her in the strong teams, then she's just like a scuffed Charlotte, a scuffed Layla.
So I also think this is a relatively subjective one. Personally, I love balls, and so I'm gonna put Kaeya above Diona, but I think they're very close together.
Yes, you can put her on instructors, but with that being said, it's still a very niche use case. Not really anything special. She shields, heals, and buffs EM, and she does all of that miserably. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true.
No.
Okay, Diona.
Okay. I'm putting her in D for a couple of reasons. First of all, her healing ticks are just really slow. There's no fanfare value there. Second of all, okay, she's a shielder. We have Layla, who's just a better shielder, if that's what you want. Otherwise, there are way better healers. We've got Mika as a cryo healer.
She's still okay for like casual clears. Okay. I mean, Zajef said she was pretty good. Juice said she was trash. I'd say Diona's in the middle. She has one good team. It's good enough. So I would say the middle, neither underrated nor overrated.
Onto the beast. Okay, I'm putting him in S in terms of the cryo list because his best melt team is pretty good. By cryo standards, it's excellent. By regular meta standards, it's decent. Like, compared to the other cryo units, he's like a godsend at the minute. At least he does competent damage. Good damage, but no team. I mean, he does have a team. Rio, Bennett, Shangling, Farina. It's a pretty good team. Even if C0, like, I've played a C0 recently, a good amount on a friend's account with that team. It feels quite good. Like,
Ganyu is better. Ayaka's better. True.
Once you get C1, he does feel a lot better to play, in fairness. But the thing is that the bar for cryo is so low to the point where, by the process of elimination, he is the best one.
I mean, they both put wriothesley as the best cryo. He has to be, I mean, if you're talking about C0, he has to be overrated then, isn't he? He got better with Shilonen if you had an invested account, but he's still not amazing. He takes the least skill, and you can kind of just like press left click a lot, some charge attacks. But I mean, that's the thing. Are we saying he only feels better because he's easier to play and he has more like team variations? But it's not like Ayaka's struggling and then wriothesley's like dominating. Like the clear time, I mean, speed on wriothesley will be worse, obviously. This bit is ungroupable content. I would say Ayaka's better, but again, that's for like try-hard players. For casuals, yeah, for casuals, wriothesley is always easy to play unless like you can freeze. Then Ayaka is probably also easy, but yeah, in general, wriothesley compared to Ayaka, Ganyu, Eula, way easier to play. So if that's like the metric that you go by, then yeah, he is like good. But I mean, if you're like a tryhard, then all the tryhards know Wriothesley's kind of mid. But I mean, you could just say that Wriothesley's just a more expensive character. It's just how it is. Like, so it's not, some characters, it's okay to be like a more higher budget for performance. Like, they intentionally designed him so that you'd want to get his C1 and his weapon. So it's intentional. So that's why I don't really, it's hard to expect Wriothesley to be amazing if you're going for like actual budget stuff, because they designed him so that you would pull constellations. You don't need a C1 though. You can get C2 on Shilonen instead. There's like some players who do that as well. But yeah, some sort of either C1 Wriothesley or C2 Shilonen, one of those. But I've never seen anyone who doesn't have either. Whereas like with ayaka, you see a lot of people with C0 ayaka cooking. So yeah, I would say Wriothesley's overrated, but that doesn't mean he's bad. That just means that he's not. He's like Kinich, right? Kinich is the Wriothesley of Natlan. Like, they're good, but they're not great without the early, like without the dolphin stuff. They're not amazing. It's also impossible to find a Kinich main at C0. I mean, you could say it's because they have really good constellations, or you could say it's because they feel underwhelming without it. One or the other.
I'm gonna hurt my brain if I think about this too much. Okay, I'm gonna put Rosaria here below chongyun because I consider her to be good for pretty much the same reasons. She has melt teams which kinda carry her position. Outside of that, she has a C6 which can support Eula, but that's supporting Eula, so who cares? She can hold a Fab Lance.
I care.
She can be like a decent crowd sub DPS. Her issue is more or less just teams, like where are you using her? Otherwise, her damage is not that bad. I do think chongyun's nukes are a bit better. The thing is, realistically, you're using them in the same team. Like, the way
okay, this is where I disagree. Like, for me, they're completely different. The Rosaria teams I'm looking at is like Garming. I'm looking at Eula. Some people even playing Navia. Whereas I think Juice is more focusing on like freeze and reverse melt. Yeah, Juice so far, I mean, well, for the most part, I've agreed to Juice. I mean, but I think Zajef underrated Rosaria.
A contender for the best option in Gaming teams. However, she feels like ass to play, so we're gonna put her here.
Why is there such a big difference between Kaeya and Rosaria? Isn't Rosaria just better?
Kaeya is in the same position as this lot, where it's like, they literally use like the same teams. Because my issue is that his cons are so inaccessible. It's a special case, he's a standard character. You're basically never getting this guy's cons. Kaeya without cons, or Chongus is better. Kaeya C6 on here, his C2 is not that impactful. Yeah, because that was kind of the main thing. Also, first of all, how are you so lucky? You have wriothesley, you have Kaeya, whatever. Okay. Yeah, because that's the thing. People always praised his C2 for being really good, but
it's good for D-Luke.
I don't know, I don't think it's that big of a deal anymore.
I'm happy with that. Like, similar, but Rosaria is just better in most situations. Yeah, but that's not like a significant notable Kaeya team. So overall, she says that like Rosaria is just better, but they're similar. And Zajef, I think this is fine. I think it's fine. I think Zajef is just overrating Kaeya. So I think the actual Rosaria probably is okay to me. I think if you combine both of them, I think it's that Kaeya's overrated. It's Rosaria's fine. I think if I was talking about Zajef, I would say overrated. If I was for Juice, I would say roughly the same. And he's nothing special. It's not an amazing Arlecchino team. Whereas, like, at least Rosaria and Diona actually have very good teams where they're important. He acknowledged it was putting him hydrated bias. Oh yeah, that's true.
Shenhe is definitely top 3 cryo unit. I am not sure if I would put her above or below Ayaka. I think people tend to overestimate the value of Shenhe's quills and underestimate the value of her res shred and damage percent buff.
That's true. That's true.
The main thing that's preventing me from putting Shenhe too high is that while on one hand she is a support character, which means she could have synergy with future cryo carries, I don't think she's a very good dedicated support. Comparing her to what you get out of Faruzan, for example, she's ass. Like,
yeah, but every support's trash compared to Faruzan, though.
So I think it's very possible they release another
Let's be honest.
cryo support in the future that's just going to be better than her. And even if it's not a dedicated cryo support,
even Shavris,
the things that she provides are small.
Faruzan is like literally, she is the most overpowered, the most like overloaded character in the entire game. Even including like Bennett and Xiangling and Kazuha. she learning. Like Faruzan is like 3 characters in one. That's just because, yeah, just because anime DPS was so bad, they had to like put like 3 characters in 1 character.
Finally, she's not very good in Hyper Fridge, so she's not as good as Ayaka. True. Okay, next.
But let's see what Juice has to say.
All right. So Shenhe, right? The thing is, for a cryo unit, she's good, but S or A, I'm thinking A tier. Do we agree with A tier? B. It's A.
Shenhe is kind of overrated.
A or top of B.
She's not amazing,
Be
but
honest,
I mean, neither of them are saying she's amazing. Okay, I think the Shenhe is fine. Like, I would say similar things. Like Shenhe is really good with Ayaka, but then she's kind of scarfed with other characters, and also she's not like amazing. Let's see what Juice has to say.
Charlotte is like really good.
Okay, she's not really good.
But hear me out.
She's
a
not
really good Farina healer. Do I think she deserves S tier status? Because I think she does, but I'm trying to avoid glazing here.
Personally, I just don't have it in me to put Charlotte particularly high, despite her synergy with Neuvillette, because I don't think.
The thing is, honestly, I would say Charlotte's more relevant with Arlecchino than Kaeya is. Even though the Melt team is alright. And then on top of that, Charlotte has like has Neuvillette teams and other teams as well.
I think she's actually that good in Neuvillette teams, so I think I'd put her here.
I think he's underrating Charlotte. I can't remember what the reasoning was though. But why is she in between Ganyu and Eula? I think Charlotte's pretty good for casual players. She's like Layla, but she's like a better Layla. Like they're both kind of characters of all time, but she's better at what she does. She stands out more. We can't rate this then, because Zajef underrates Charlotte, but then Juice overrates her. 1 high, 1 low. Can't average. Okay, Freminet.
Freminet's just better Eula. He's literally just Eula, but a bit better, so...
No, wait, hold on. Where did Zajef rate him again? I can't remember. Zajef said he was just worse Eula. Oh! Or is it that she's underrating Eula and then the Freminet one is fine? Is it that? Is it already fixed? Is that already fixed by saying that Eula was underrated? Because none of them really are rating him that high. Yeah, he's not better than Eula. I mean, he's not. Eula's good. If you're a tryhard, Eula's good. Again, if you're a tryhard, Eula, Ayaka, they're both... Well, Ayaka's very good. Eula is pretty good. So, Eula's underrated. Ayaka's also underrated, but I'm not saying they're like as strong as each other, but... Okay, Ganyu.
I'm scared. I'm scared of putting her somewhere because I feel like I'm going to make people mad. You're looking at a relatively decent-ish carry, right? But neither Kaeya nor Diona are carries. When you look at actual meta teams, Kaeya is a strong teammate for Arlecchino team options, but a relatively unpopular one. And Diona is a relatively popular teammate to a bunch of different teams, but not a particularly strong one.
I mean, I think all the Cryo DPS are very similar. It's just different levels of tryhard. So it depends on your perspective. Like, are you like just looking for like, a casual button mashing character? In that case, like wriothesley's very good, and then Ganyu's horrible, Eula's probably horrible as well. Ayaka could be good if you can freeze enemies, otherwise she's also horrible. So that's if you're just looking for like a button mashing like casual character comparing DPSs. If you're a tryhard though, you'll find wriothesley underwhelming. Eula could be good if you got the right strats. Ganyu cooks if you're a tryhard, and then Ayaka also cooks. So it almost flip-flops. It depends on like how much of a sweat you are. So this is what I got overall. There we go. There. This is what I had. So who won? Who won the debate? Let me know. I guess it was a 3-way debate. Juice 1, Jamie 0. How? So yeah, my overall thoughts, I guess, is that the Cryo DPSs are underrated. If you're good,